Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to day 13 of the suffering. No cardio today. It is Saturday. It is 4:50 in the morning. I have to work today. I have to be at work early. So even if I didn't have to be at work early today, I don't do cardio on Saturdays and Sundays. I give my body a little bit of break from that on Saturday and Sunday, because right now I just don't need to do cardio on the weekends because I'm still progressing. Even though my weight has stalled out, that's completely stalled out. It's fine. I know the progress is still coming. I know I'm still making it. I know it's still happening. It's just all the water weight slowly stripped off until now my body is just down to losing fat instead of water. I am a little tired this morning. Not because of any particular reason besides just waking up early. You just don't really get used to it. At least I don't. I'm more of a night owl. I like waking up later and staying up later. I can stay up to like 3 o'clock in the morning easy. Waking up early is hard, so I naturally like to stay up late and wake up early, but as being an adult, you gotta wake up and do what you gotta do. So I've been dealing with my knee for the last couple of days being swollen, and it's kind of aggravating. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to take ibuprofen today, and I'm going to take it every 4 hours. That's what the doctor recommends to do every 4 hours, and I'm going to do that all today and all tomorrow, and I'm going to see if my swelling goes down to my knee and if I can get this water out of there, because it's not painful. It's just pressure. It's just a lot of pressure, and I want to get the pressure out of my. I want to get that pressure and that water out of my knee before it becomes painful, because I'm not sure how long my knee can handle being swollen that long before it actually starts affecting it in a negative way, because I know it's just a matter of time before it does start to hurt it. So I'm going to start taking a little bit of measures to get the water out. I'm also going to do compression on it too. I want to try to wrap it. I'm going to get an ace bandage, and I'm going to wrap my knee. I'm not going to wrap it so tight that I can't move or function, but I am going to wrap my knee to see if I can't get some pressure on there to kind of help push the fluid out with the anti-inflammatory, and maybe that will do the trick. And then tonight, I think I'm going to elevate my knee, and I'm going to put some ice on it as well too. I think I'm going to try to lay on the floor and put my leg up on the couch and put some ice on my knee with some compression, and see if I can get all the water out of my knee doing that today and tomorrow with the anti-inflammatory. Now I got to be at work all day today, so I'm going to be on my feet again all day moving around. I also have to train my hamstrings tonight, so I'm going to be working out my hamstrings. So we'll see how counterproductive that is, working out my hamstrings and doing all that, which I don't really understand why it swelled up, because there wasn't anything that was like ow or a pop or like anything that was like, oh man, I just tweaked my knee or twisted it or anything. Not this Thursday, but last Thursday I kind of tweaked it a little bit doing squats, but it didn't swell up and it didn't hurt me, and nothing bothered me while I was doing, like afterwards. It felt fine. So I don't know why it's doing it now. We've had a lot of weather. We've had a whole lot of weather come in these last 2-3 days, and so I'm wondering if maybe, like I said earlier, it's a form of arthritis and it's just a flare-up. But then people always say like, oh, inflammation's caused by whatever, but who knows? Again, I am not a doctor. I'm nowhere near a doctor. All I know is my knee's bugging me, and if I can't get it down myself, I will go to the doctor just to see what they can tell me or what they can give me as far as it goes to, like maybe like a shot or something, get it out. Because my buddy, he's never had any issues at all his whole life. And then one day he just woke up out of nowhere and his knee was hurting him real bad. And then his shoulder was hurting him real bad, and he couldn't figure out why. And turned out it was arthritis, just out of nowhere, just completely out of nowhere. It's just crazy how things like that happen. So, okay, well, I'm gonna eat. I'll see you guys at 9 o'clock. Okay, 9 o'clock, second meal of the day. I've been up since 4:50. I had to eat breakfast an hour early because I had to get to work earlier. And maybe that's the only reason why I'm so hungry right now, but today is pretty difficult. I am so hungry today, man. I am fighting not only with hunger, but cravings. I haven't been getting cravings at all, but today I'm getting cravings. I am craving some chips so bad. I want to go to the store and buy a bag of chips and just get down on it. So I was thinking Monday through Friday, it was easy for me because I was at work, and that's why when I was home, I was around all that food and my kids and the snacks is what made it difficult. But apparently, my body just likes to go into relax mode on Saturday and Sunday, I guess, because it's Saturday today, and my body is just putting all kinds of cravings out there. It could be just because I ate an hour early. It's been 4 hours since I ate, and I normally eat every 3 hours. So it's a high probability. It's just because it's been 4 hours. But I can't help but think, oh no, what if this is just a Saturday, Sunday thing, and every Saturday and Sunday I'm going to have cravings like this? Because last weekend I had wicked cravings all day, every day, well, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. It was really difficult, but I'm at work and I don't feel like leaving to go get something. So that's going to be a saving grace. And I don't get off till 4:30 tonight. So there's no way I'm going to be able to eat anything. By the time I get off of work, I'm going to be drinking my coffee, and then I got to work out. Then I got to cook my food for the next day. So I'm going to be busy. So I'm not going to eat nothing. Tomorrow is going to be the true difficult day because I'm going to actually be home and I'm going to be around food when I'm hungry. I'm not saying I'm going to break. I'm not saying I'm going to eat something I'm not supposed to. I'm just saying it's going to be extremely difficult tomorrow. It's going to be absolutely rough. I'm not saying this to be like, oh, woe is me, feel sorry for me, poor me. I'm just letting you guys know, like, it's difficult. I'm having a hard time. Like, I'm not a machine like the rest of you. Like, we all suffer the same. Hunger hits everybody the same way. And man, it is such a horrible feeling to be hungry. And it's even worse when you have cravings and you can't help but think about other food. So hopefully after I eat, all those signals and all that just goes away. As far as it goes for energy today, I feel great. I have a lot of energy. I don't feel tired. I don't feel groggy. I don't feel exhausted. My energy levels are actually really good. My body feels tired and my body feels heavy. Everything feels heavy to me. So I feel weak and I feel like picking things up is definitely a challenge and it's hard, harder than normal. So, like, something that would be like kind of like moderately heavy to me is extremely heavy to me right now, and something that's like modestly light kind of feels heavy. So my body definitely is going through changes where it's forcing me to, well, it's trying to force me not to move as much, and it's trying to force me to do less by everything feeling heavy and then my body feeling sluggish and tired. Mentally, I feel great. Mentally, I feel amazing. Mentally, I'm alert and have energy and I feel great. It's just my body, I can feel the difference in my body of having the lack of the calories and the sodium and being on such a big deficit, especially having to be up and be at work all day and moving and lifting up things and just generally being at work. I'm irritated. Oh, I'm so irritated. Earlier, I was saying mentally I'm great and I feel good, and I'm bright eyed, which is true. Mentally, I'm not tired. I'm not exhausted, but I'm irritated. Man, I am so irritated today. I can feel it. My body is really hungry, and because I've been working so hard today, I'm pushing myself at work to do my job because that's what I do. I work, and it's causing me to burn more calories, which my body already doesn't get enough as it is. And then with me doing everything else I do, it is just causing my irritation to go through the roof. Like, I am so irritated and aggravated. And I'm not aggravated at nothing. There's nothing that made me mad. There's nothing that made me upset, nothing that irritated me. But man, I'm just aggravated like a hair trigger. Like I'm just waiting for someone to say the wrong thing so I can snap at them. Not that I'm going to. I'm not that person. I decided to be on a diet. I decided to be hungry. I decided to do this. So it's no one else's fault, and no one should have to put up with me and my bad attitude because I'm hungry and I'm feeling worn out, well, physically. So it's no one else's fault. So it's like kind of messed up to make someone else be your whipping boy or your punching bag because you decided to do this to yourself, and you feel like they should be miserable too. So you come at them mentally and you attack them like verbally, but it makes you feel better. I don't know why. When you're irritated and mad because you're hungry, being mean to people makes you feel a whole lot better in the moment. And then afterwards, you kind of think about it and you're like, ah, they didn't deserve that. Ah, I shouldn't have been like that. Ah, I shouldn't have said that. Man, it's like those old Snicker commercials. Here, eat something. You're not yourself when you're hungry. It is true. Yeah, I've yeah, people talk about steroids and like, oh, roid rage, roid rage. It's like, did you ever stop to think that maybe they're not being mean and angry because they're on steroids, but maybe they're being mean and angry because they're hungry? Maybe it's not the steroids because I've never met an angry fat person that was a powerlifter that got to eat whatever they wanted and was always full and overfull. But man, I've met some mean bodybuilders and I met some mean, like lean athletes that were always like having to be on a restricted diet. Those dudes are like hair triggers. But those fat linemen and those fat powerlifters and strongmen, they're always smiling, man. They're the most gentlest and nicest guys ever. I don't know. Like I said earlier, food is a driving force and it can drive you into a lot of different directions and things and make you do stuff and say stuff and act certain ways. It's a huge driving factor. I'm having a hard day with my hunger. It's nonstop. I don't want to start repeating myself. So I'm going to go ahead and eat, and I'll see you guys in the gym. That was a roller coaster today, man. I was clear headed, felt great, body was tired, exhausted, and then my body felt good, and then I was mentally just irritated and drained and just aggravated. And then now I'm good. I feel good mentally and physically. I feel amazing. So I think what happened was this morning I woke up at 4:50, which I normally wake up at 5:15 and do cardio, and then I eat at 6. And today I woke up and I ate at 5 a.m., which pushed my food back by an hour. So I had 4 hours till my next meal. So I got like overly hungry by 9 o'clock. And then by the time I ate at noon, I was still feeling that hunger from this morning. And it took my third meal of the day to kind of start getting caught back up to where I need to be. Because now I just feel wonderful. I feel really good. So I'm caught back up and I feel like my body's kind of like, hey, okay, we're good. Stop it. We got what we need. There's no reason to be acting like this no more. Like we're good. And I don't know if that had something to do with it, but if it is, I tell you, missing an hour on your meal timing, well, for me, missing an hour on my meal timing, if it affected me that bad, it's like I really want to make sure I avoid missing an hour or two of my meal timing because to go past it to get that hungry shows me like how like in tune my body is with my timing on my meal. Like every 3 hours, I'm a little hungry between meals, but as I get closer to a meal, I start getting actually hungry. So to push it an hour further, and then to be doing physical labor, picking up a bunch of chain falls and come alongs and heavy equipment for about 3 hours straight, and then getting to eat, it kind of I guess drained me more than what I realized, and it got to me mentally, and it kind of got me a little like a little cranky and stuff. So I got to really avoid doing that. So I guess if I work next weekend or next time I work Saturday, I'll probably just boil some eggs and then I'll just bring those to work. So when I get to work, I can just eat them at work and I don't have to worry about cooking them and eating them fresh. I'll eat boiled eggs, the egg whites. So two things about leg curls, doing them first in the workout. I have mixed emotions because doing it first warms up the back of your knee.
and it helps your knee get warmed up and ready to go. It also warms up the hamstrings. But when you go to a stretching motion and a pulling motion like the Romanian deadlifts, where you're pushing your hips back as far as you can and trying to stretch the hamstring as hard as you can, this to me makes it feel like the hamstring gets really tight and it just pulls so hard, and not in a good way. It almost makes it feel really, really stiff and uncomfortable stiff to about the third set. Then it kind of starts loosening up and feeling better, but then you only have one more set to go because I do 4 sets and then it's over with. But at the same time, though, it warms the knee up, which makes the knee feel better, but it makes the hamstring feel tighter. So, like I said, I have mixed emotions, but I also do like doing it first for the sake that it actually fatigues the hamstring some. So when you're doing the heavier movements like deadlifts, Romanian deadlifts, and other things like that, it allows you to go lighter, but still makes it feel like it's super heavy because it's already kind of pre-fatigued the hamstring some. Not completely fatigued it by any stretch of the imagination, but it's kind of already started the process of fatiguing it. So you can get away with doing less, but still feeling heavy. I am going to err on the side of precaution and put some wrist straps on because my fatigue, I'm not sure where it lies with my grip strength, and I'm not going to risk losing reps on Romanian deadlifts because of my grip gave out. Now, normally I would just barehanded grab it, no straps or anything like that, but that's if I'm trying to build up my grip strength to a really, really, really strong grip. But since I'm working out my back twice a week, I'm working out my arms twice a week, and then I'm doing these pulling movements that hold. I don't want to develop tendonitis in my elbows or get any type of like elbow issues, because if I overwork my grip, my elbows will start to hurt and everything in here starts to get all locked up and gritty. So I don't want to overdo it on the forearms. Now, if I was just doing a basic powerlifting routine where I didn't do that much of movements and I only worked everything out once a week, it wouldn't be a concern of mine. So I would not use straps until the bar literally slipped from my hand. And once the bar literally slipped from my hand is whenever I would decide to start putting on straps. So I could build up my forearm size and I could build up my grip strength. The thing is, if I have so many other opportunities throughout the week for my grip and my strength, or for my grip and my forearm development, I'm not going to stress over taking my forearms to annihilation, trying to get a stronger grip with this. All right, we got 10 with 185. Feel pretty good about that. I could have pushed through till 12 if I really wanted to, but my lower back started getting tight, and I'm not going to go to complete failure with this. I know I say it in every video when I'm working out, but I'm not trying to go to failure. I'm trying to get 1 to 3 reps shy of failure because I want to continuously stimulate the muscle to grow without overstimulating it, to annihilate it, to break down and not be able to repair and recover. Because while I'm in the cut, the whole concept is preserving as much muscle mass as I can. So I'm trying to send the signals from my body to use the muscles, to keep the muscles, while getting rid of the body fat, so I don't end up being skinny at the end of this. I've seen videos of people doing stiff-legged deadlifts with dumbbells over a Smith machine. They'll take the bar in the Smith machine and they'll lower it down to the hip, and they'll walk up against it, and and they'll take dumbbells and they'll bend over and they'll do stiff-legged deadlifts with that on their hips with dumbbells. And people keep calling it, have you ever seen anyone do Romanian deadlifts like this? That's not a Romanian deadlift. What I did earlier was Romanian deadlifts. If you stand up against a bar on a Smith machine and your legs are completely straight and you bend over with dumbbells in your hand, that is a stiff-legged deadlift. It's a very good stretch on the hamstrings and the glutes. It's a very good stretch. It's nothing to take lightly. It's an amazing workout, but it's not a Romanian deadlift. You can achieve the same thing by doing back extensions. It's locking your lower body in place and allowing you to hinge at the hip while keeping your knee straight. So it's the same thing. And then you can hold dumbbells or put chains over your neck, or you can put a strap over your back like a big band or something. Or you could just do stiff-legged deadlifts. So if you don't have availability for a Smith machine or a barbell on a rack, but you have one of these because your gym is busy or it's crowded and there's not one available because there's too many people and they're using it, just do these. Or just do straight stiff-legged deadlifts. You're going to get the same out of it. When doing back extensions also, another tip, there's two different ways you can approach it. When your feet are locked in back here, you can either try to curl with your leg. Obviously, you're not going to be able to bend your leg, but you can curl with your legs and then pull, and that will get your hamstrings involved a whole lot. If you want to build the glutes and the hips up, like if you want stronger hips and bigger glutes, then push your hips through the pad, like you're thrusting. So like if you were back like this, and then you thrusted your hips forward, you're not pulling with your hamstrings. You're pushing your hips through. That engages the glutes and the adductors. So imagine you're trying to push your hips through the pad. You're not lifting your back up, and you're not pulling with your legs, but you're pushing your hips through like a V, and you're trying to push that like a bow. Imagine a bow with an arrow on it, and that string is trying to push that arrow as hard as it can to get it to, project away from the bow. That's what you're doing with your hips. You're trying to push the pads through and away from you. If you want the glutes and the hips, if you want the hamstrings, then imagine doing a leg curl, but you're curling your ankles up, which will draw your upper body up. And just keep that in mind whenever you do these. Also, if you let your back kind of round, it'll make it feel different versus if you keep your back flat the whole entire way, if you stay postured up versus allowing your back to round. If you allow your back to round versus keeping it arched, it's a completely different feel too, and you could target it completely different. There's so many different little techniques you could do on this. It's crazy, but like this is a very useful piece of equipment for building up the back lower half of the body. I think a good judge of knee health is doing lunges. I think if you could do lunges pain-free in your knees, I think you have pretty healthy knees. Because there's been many, many years I couldn't do lunges because my knees were achy and hurt and I have discomfort in them. So since I do have pressure in this knee, I decided let me try to do lunges and see how it feels. And this would be a good judge of pain level. And I gotta tell you, I'm doing it pain-free. Doesn't hurt, doesn't bother me at all. There's no discomfort. So I'm gonna add lunges back in. Instead of doing hip adductors, I'll just add those because I do the hip adductions when I train my quads and the adductors when I train my hamstrings. So I'm just gonna put both of those on quad night. But then I'm gonna put lunges here tonight to help build up all the other little muscles in the legs that might be getting missed because all the greats did lunges, and generally I just like lunges. I like the way they feel. I enjoy them. But like with many other things, you can do so many different variations, like a standing lunge, a walking lunge, a side lunge. But even just doing walking lunges, you could change the dynamic of the lift so much versus taking a very long stride and letting your knee be behind your foot, or taking a short stride and letting your knee go over your foot. Whether the knee that's behind you, if you decide to extend that backwards to get you lifted up, or if you decide to drive through your heel, or drive through your toes, or drive through the outside of your foot, if you shift your weight on your hip, or if you shift your weight on your groin, there's a whole lot of different ways that you could target different parts of the legs just by simply pushing on the foot in a certain area, or by where you put your foot placement to your body. Like I said, a long stride, a medium stride, a short stride. You go all the way down to the ground with your knee. You stop and you do a partial. There's so many different ways to load different areas of the leg and the hips by doing these. And also, because you're doing them individually, it allows you to recognize any weak areas or weak spots or lagging areas in your legs, and they'll help bring those imbalances up and hopefully fix any issues that you're having with your knees and your hips and your flexors and everything else. But if you have pain in your hips and your knees, this is a good indication when you do these to figure out why you have those pains and what's causing them and to address them. Because this is a movement I believe you should be able to do pain-free, especially if you have healthy knees. Yeah, I feel good about doing the lunges. I'm going to add those back in. I know it could be a very good quad movement. So it's like, why don't you put them on Wednesdays? Well, because when you're down, like I said, in this position here, if you thrust up with this leg, you're going to hit that glute and that hamstring more. If you push off with this foot, you're going to get the quad more. So it just depends on how you want to target your leg is what you're going to get out of it. But with that being said, I'm moving on to calves. That's pretty much it for hamstrings. Simple leg curls, Romanian deadlifts, back extensions, curling, pulling, stretching, with a stretching, and then a walking lunge. Now I'm going to do calf. So Wednesdays, I like to do seated calf raises, and I like to go heavy. I do 5 sets of 8 to 20 reps, doing 20 closer to the early sets and 8 closer to the last 1 or 2 sets, because obviously you get heavier and heavier as you get deeper and deeper into the movement. And I'm trying to get a lot of weight on the calf to stimulate it, to be able to stay strong, to be able to keep it bigger while not doing too much. Because I do a lot of cardio on the Stairmaster, and because I do a lot of cardio on the Stairmaster, my calves get a lot of work already as it is. So I do on Saturday nights, I'll do one of two, and I decided to do this one tonight. I'll either grab dumbbells and hold dumbbells and stand flat foot and just get up on my toes, hold it for 2-3 seconds, and then come back down just till my heels barely touch, come back up. Sometimes you'll come half and come down. Sometimes you'll be able to hold it and come down, or just get it up and come down. But the whole thing is you want to try to control nice and slow up, peak contraction, 2-3 seconds, slow down, barely tap, back up. So that's one way to try it. If you've never done that, give those a go. They're amazing, and it doesn't take a whole lot. But tonight, what I decided to do is I'm going to go with the angles. So I'm only doing 3 sets of this. I'm going to do standing calf raises with just body weight. I'm going to start off with my toes in. I'm going to do 10. I'm going to go toes out and do 10. And I'm going to do my toes straight and do 10. I'm going to do 3 sets of that. So 30 reps per set, changing the foot position every 10 reps. And it's going to help get the other parts of the calf that I may not be getting from all the other angles. And I will hold on to here so I don't lose my balance. This is also a movement that's really great to perform in a Smith machine. If you have a Smith machine rack, you could get in there and you could do it with the Smith machine and put a plate down. If you don't want to do it in the Smith machine, you could do it on the hack squat. What I used to do is the old school hack squats that you lay down like this. I would turn around and face the sled, put my belly on the back pad, and put 2 plates down on the foot pad on the platform, and I would do it facing. You can do it on the leg press. There's so many different ways you can do this. If you have a standing calf raise machine, that's probably the most ideal way to do it, but I don't have that in here. So maybe one day, but for now, this is the way we're going to make this work. And I like to get a good stretch at the bottom and hold there for a second too. If you do these really fast and just pump them out, you're not doing yourself any credit and you're not going to get anything out of them. You got to do them slow. You got to do them control. Explode on the way up, hold, contract, and flex your calf. Nice controlled on the way down. Get a good stretch at the bottom. Hold down there for 1 or 2 seconds to get a good stretch, and then pop back up. You do 10, 10, and 10, I promise you, you're going to feel it even with no weight, just body weight, especially if you never tried this before. Okay, so I'm going to finish this up, and then I'm going to have my protein shake. Last night I went to the store when I was done working out, and I was like, 3 scoops of protein and this much of water. It's not bad, but anyone who drinks protein powders knows what I'm talking about. It's not the same as when you put it in milk. It's or you buy the pre-made ones. Like those are so thick and creamy, they're delicious. This definitely leaves something lacking. So I was like, you know what? I could put some like Fairlife fat-free milk in here, but man, there's 80 calories for 8 ounces. I was like, that's not going to do the trick. Plus, there's carbs and a bunch of other stuff. So I was like, what else can I do? So I was like, you know what? Let me go look at the Jello. So I went and looked at the Jello pudding, and the Jello pudding for the original is for the chocolate pudding. It's a quarter serving of the box. The box is about that big. It's 100 calories. There's 4 servings. Quarter box is a serving, so it's 100 calories per quarter. So I was like, well, if I add a quarter, it's 100 calories. If I do, I guess, an eighth, it would be 50 calories. But then I looked at the sugar-free ones, and the sugar-free ones were 30 calories for a quarter of the box. So I was like, well, that's not bad either. So if I do a quarter of a box of that, that'd be 30 calories additional. Or I could do a eighth of the box instead of 1/4. I could do 1/8, and that would give me 15 calories. And that might make this a lot sweeter or thicken it up, make it more creamy. And then I looked at the ingredients, and there's like aspartame in it. I have nothing against aspartame, but me personally, I can't drink aspartame. It does something to my head. When I drink it, back in the day, my mom, she bought a 12 pack of soda, and she messed up and bought diet, and she didn't realize she bought diet. No one wanted to drink it. So I was like, I'll drink it. I was a teenager. So I drank like half a can. I got really lightheaded and dizzy. Like, man, I feel really dizzy and lightheaded, like as if you stood up too fast. I was like, man, that's really weird. I didn't know what the cause of it was, so I just ignored it. Well, fast forward 2, 3 days later, I had another one. Same thing happened. And it happened every single time I drank one. And I never put it together why. Then we got older and I grew up, got married, and then me and my wife were very, very, very poor when we first got together. So we went to the dollar store and they had a big 2 liter thing of cola for $1. And we're like, yeah, that's awesome. That's very cheap and you get a lot out of it. So we bought that and I drank a glass of that and I was like, man, I'm lightheaded and dizzy. And it happened again. I didn't put it together. So 3 days later, I just grabbed a soda by itself because every time I drank when I was eating. So then I just grabbed it by itself and went to go drink it. And I got super lightheaded and dizzy again, even worse than what it was when I was eating food. And that's whenever I realized it has to be the drink. When I was a teenager, I didn't think about it. But when I was in my early 20s, it kind of made, like, I stopped. I was like, man, this is kind of weird. So then I read the back of it. I was looking at the ingredients. And then I remember hearing this doctor talk about aspartame, how it affects some people. So then I looked into it, and then it's not a huge part of the population, but a very small part of the population. Well, supposedly they use aspartame in paint thinner.
Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but that's what they say. And this doctor said they use aspartame to paint thinner to let you know how good it is for you. But also, it shows that it causes spotting and holes in the brain. It'll eat the brain, the frontal lobe. Old data. This is old data, so I don't know how true that is. If it was actually correlated to the aspartame. And then they said in some individuals can become sensitive to it, where they'll get lightheaded and dizzy and feel nauseous from it. I was like, well, that's me, you know. So then I read the back of the bottle, saw the aspartame, and I was like, well, that's what it is. And any single time I've ever had aspartame, like I can always almost guarantee that's going to happen to me. So I don't mess with anything with aspartame in it. So when I saw the Jello and the aspartame, I was just like, man, I don't want to risk feeling like that. And honestly, I don't want to add to the diet. It's called the suffering, right? Not the let's find shortcuts and secrets and figure out how to make this more enjoyable. Whenever I'm done with the suffering and the 90 days is over, or I'm on my trip or whatever comes, then I might add milk to this, some fat-free Fairlife, or I might buy the original Jello pudding powder and add it to here to thicken it up to make it taste better. Especially if I go up to 4 or 5 scoops of protein to get my protein up. I'm going to do things to add flavor so I can get more calories in it, make it more enjoyable. It doesn't always have to be miserable. You don't always have to be suffering. But right now for this, I told you guys I'm going to suffer for 90 days, and that's what I'm doing. I'm suffering for 90 days. That's what I'm going. That's what I'm doing, and that's what I'm after. So I'm not going to do anything to have any shortcuts. But for those of you who need it, there's a little tip to try to kind of make things a little bit sweeter and more enjoyable for those of you who need a little bit of sweetness and you'll have that sweet tooth and you can't shake that craving. Try doing that. That might help you out. Also, Hershey's chocolate syrup. It's 45 calories for like I think 1 tablespoon. So you can do 1 tablespoon in there and it'll sweeten it up. But I don't know if it would even be enough to make a huge difference or not. But there's always that option. And you could get like cacao. I think that's how you say it. Coca or cacao. I think it's cacao. The basic chocolate powder, unsweetened, special dark or extra dark or dark chocolate and stuff. Just the powder from Hershey's. You could get that too, but again, that's not sweet. That'll just give it more of a chocolate flavor, but it won't add any sweetness to it. So if you're looking for sweetness, you're gonna have to do something like that. And I suppose you could just actually add aspartame to it. You do like sweet and low. Sweet and low, I don't think has calories in it. It might. I don't think it does. But if not, then you can just add that if you need more sugar, I suppose. Oh, you have diet soda if you need something sweet because there's 0 calories in that. But me personally, I can't drink this stuff. So that is off the table. Off the table. And this isn't that bad. It's just I miss drinking it with milk. And what I used to do is I would do 3 scoops. I would do whole milk because I'm a whole milk drinker. I'll do whole milk, and then I would put peanut butter with the chocolate protein, and it tastes like Reese's peanut butter. That's what it tastes like. Reese's peanut butter cups. That's what it tastes like to me, at least. And when you're on a diet, like anything that has peanut butter and chocolate might as well be a Reese's peanut butter cup when you're on a diet. It tastes amazing. Pretty good. Pretty good. Well, I'm gonna finish this up and drink this. And when I get done with this, I am actually going to go to a tanning salon. They have a tanning salon right down the road, about maybe 10 minutes from my house. So I'm going to go see what their rates are, if they have memberships, how much the memberships are, because I am pale. I haven't seen the sun since last August. I'm really pale, and we're going to the lake, we're going to the water park, we're going to be doing some water activities, and fat looks better dark, not pale. The paler your fat is, the grosser it looks, at least to me. So I like to get some color because, as you guys know, when you step on stage in bodybuilding, you tan because it makes the muscles pop better, it makes it look better. So I'm gonna look at going to a tanning booth and I'm gonna see how much the memberships are. So because I used to tan, but the problem with tanning is I have to lay on my front for 10 minutes or 20 minutes. I have to lay on my side for 20 minutes and lay on my other side for 20 minutes and lay on my back for 20 minutes. Because if I don't lay on my side, I got to put my arm up, then I got to cross my legs like this. Because if I don't, then the inside of my thigh stay pale and the outside of my thigh stay pale and the sides of me stay pale. So I got to rotate myself quarter turns every 20 minutes. And it just, baking in the sun for an hour and 20 minutes sucks versus going to a tanning salon for like 10 minutes. And I could do that every other day, every third day or something like that. And I'll still get better color than I have now because I just want to get a base tan. And my wife back in the day when she was younger, she actually worked at Dark Tan. So they went under, at least here in the Houston area. They went under. They just, I don't know what happened. They bellied up. But she used to work there. She was a manager. She had a good schedule. She worked Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So she was off Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday. She was a manager. So she made the schedule. She had a perfect schedule. And then she got commission off of tanning lotions and selling packages and memberships. So she was only making, I think, like $9 an hour, but with a commission and everything like that, she was bringing home like $700, $800 a week back in 2010, 2011. So that's actually really good for making $9 an hour and selling lotions. They pay their employees quite well. And then get this, they would pay for plastic surgery. They would pay a portion of it. So like if you want to get like a boob job or liposuction or any cosmetics to make you look better, which helps the image of the company, I think they paid like up to 50% of it. It was crazy. Then they had competitions who had the best tan. You get the best tan, and then you get free lotions and all kinds of stuff. But anyways, so she got free tans because she worked there. So what I would do is I would wake up, me and her would wake up, we go to the gym, we do cardio because she worked a mile down the street. I worked on cars in an automotive shop, and she worked at Dark Tan down the road. And we would come and we would go to the gym and work out, and then I'd come and go to work, and then she would go. We drove our own vehicles, but we would leave the gym at the same time. And then I'm lying. Well, what happened is she had to be to work at 7. I had to be to work at 8. So we would wake up and we would go work out. And then we get done working out. We would drive to her job because I had to be there at 8. She had to be there at 7. So we go to her job. And then she had to be there 20 minutes early from opening. So she had to be there at like 6:40 in the morning. We would eat our breakfast. She would do all her opening stuff and everything. But before she did that, she would tan because of she could tan for free. So she would tan before 7 o'clock. And then I would tan after she would tan when the store opened up at 7. And then we would hang out and eat breakfast and stuff like that. And then at like 7:50, I would go on down to my job and work, and then we would get off of work at the same time, and then she would come and meet me at my job, and then we would take off and go to the gym and work out. So it worked out really cool, and we were super dark and super tan all year round, like really dark and tan. People were like, "Oh man, yeah, you guys, y'all need to lay off the tanning beds," but it's like, yeah, it's free, so why not? But I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here, guys, because I don't think many of you are probably interested in watching me going to a tanning bed and talking to people about different tanning packages. If I end up getting something, I'll let you guys know tomorrow and let you know what tanning package I did, how much it costs, what I'm going to be doing, and my plans and everything like that for the tanning. And to be honest, if I had the room in my garage and I had the money, I would just buy my own tanning bed to go in there because that would be pretty cool to have my own tanning bed and stuff like that. Pretty, pretty, pretty vain, I know, but I mean, why not? All right, guys, for real, I'm ending it here. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.